Everybody on YouTube has been raving about the Penguin, especially Colin Farrell's performance as the Penguin, aka Oswald Cobb, a gangster in Gotham City and one of the main antagonists in the Batman universe. The comic book film adaptation genre need not be a lesser film category when it's done right. Think about Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, and the Penguin is a worthy successor to Nolan's take on Batman. Heath Ledger won an Oscar for portraying the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix also won the Oscar for playing Joker, and Colin Farrell could win the Emmy for his performance as the Penguin. He should be nominated, at least. He disappears into the role, wearing a fat suit and facial prosthetics as the Penguin. He's unrecognizable as Colin Farrell, but looks like a real person, a real gangster. Kudos to the makeup department, the art department. Oz Cobb struggles with a disability that initially makes him sympathetic, but over the course of 8 episodes, we're shown the real Oswald Cobb, a psychopath from a young age who is subjected to a great deal of stress, as everybody in Gotham City is, but the glimmers of humanity we saw in several episodes are quenched one by one. He confounds our expectations about the efficacy of kindness on the great project of social rehabilitation, which is one of the goals of a liberal society. Gotham City is harsh. One of Oz Cobb's enemies, Sophia Falcone, is framed for murders she didn't commit. Framed by her father, no less, Carmine Falcone, the head of a wealthy crime family in Gotham. He actually committed the murders, but framed his daughter for the crimes. Now, she's incarcerated in Arkham Asylum for 10 years, where she undergoes electroshock therapy, strip search, isolation, and finally she herself becomes a murderer. She kills a fellow inmate, and only after all that is she released back into society. By that time, her father is dead. So she's seeking revenge against Oz Cobb, who used to be her driver, but made up a story to help Carmine Falcone pin the murders on Sophia. She's an intriguing counterpart to Oz Cobb. Oz, when he was a young, budding psychopath, killed his 2 brothers because they competed for their mom's attention. Now, that's one of the big reveals in the show. He justifies it by saying his mother has difficulty taking care of all 3 of them, so she doesn't make a lot of money. And after the murders, it's easier for her, right? She only has to take care of Oz. Now, Sophia is different, or is she? Superficially, she's very different. She grows up with the proverbial silver spoon in her mouth. The Falcones are obscenely wealthy, but they don't just rule the criminal underworld. They own the police and City Hall through kickbacks. They are the elite of Gotham City. And as one of the rival gangsters says, the Falcones eat their own. Sophia's family members all testify to the judge that she's always had mental problems, that she used to torture animals as a child, etc., which is not true, but it gets her locked up in Arkham Asylum for 10 years. When she gets out, she takes revenge on her surviving family members by killing them all. And so, just like Oz, she kills her family. Now, we're supposed to have a lot more sympathy for Sophia because she was framed, but the show is telling us it's a slippery slope. And the question becomes, how different is Sophia's moral character from that of Oz when all is said and done? Sophia is played by Cristin Milioti, who makes for a rock and roll female antagonist with a Joan Jett haircut, whose fallback position is, "These men did this to me. Don't you get it? They framed me for killing women, although I'm a woman." And this is after she kills a female inmate at Arkham just for being annoying. Cristin Milioti gives a breakout performance here. Someone who should have taken the last Greyhound to California is Victor Aguilar, a good kid who tragically lost his family during the events of Matt Reeves' The Batman film, starring Robert Pattinson. The Penguin series takes place the week after the tragedy shown in that film, which claimed the lives of many in Gotham, mostly people in the poorest neighborhood, Crown Point, where Victor grew up. He becomes the right-hand man to Oswald Cobb, losing his morals and his life in the process. His death comes as a shock in the last episode of season 1. Oz at that point had won the war against all his enemies. Sophia was defeated. She was back in Arkham Asylum. Her ally, Salvatore Maroni, was dead. He died of a heart attack while attacking Oz after Oz killed Salvatore's beloved wife and son in a hideous manner. But Oz still felt vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable, because he had grown fond of Victor, and Victor thought of Oz as family. So Oz tells Victor, Family makes you weak, and he strangles Oz with his bare hands. Victor is played by a terrific young actor, Rhenzy Felice. We'll be watching him in plenty of films going forward. Deirdre O'Connell here has a standout performance as Frances Cobb, Oz's mother. She suffers from Lewy body dementia, and in the last episode of season 1 is debilitated by a stroke while reliving the traumatic murders of her other 2 sons at the hands of Oswald. Deirdre O'Connell does a Meryl Streep turn in episodes 7 and 8, and it's not easy to be playing a realistic character in a comic book universe, but she walks that line. What we like about comic book characters is they're fun, colorful, and not subtle. I would say with the character of Frances, Deirdre O'Connell is aided and abetted by the writing of Lauren LaFranc. She's the writer, showrunner, and executive producer. Now, if I have any criticisms at all, I would say episode 1 took a bit too much time to get going. They were setting the stage with moody lighting and cinematography, which makes this show beautiful to watch. The production design is tremendous, but there was too much focus on the backdrop in episode 1. I had to watch episode 1 twice, and during both watches I fell asleep at various points. But I have nothing else bad to say about The Penguin Season 1. It's well worth watching and could contend for the Emmys.